What up, YouTube? Topaz Ace back for another album review, and this one is to that Camilla, Cabello, Camilla, and I'm giving this one the green light, man. I definitely enjoyed this project. Now, is it as great as everybody's trying to proclaim it to be? Nah, but it definitely rides almost all the way through, man. Definitely an enjoyable project, man. For those of you who don't know Camilla, she was on the X Factor, in which she did really well off of that, in which from there they put her in a group that was signed to Epic Records, and it was called Fifth Harmony. And I do believe she left the group and now she's doing her own thing here, man. And here's my thing about shows like X Factor and all of that. They really don't prepare you to be a musician. They prepare you for the music industry. And this is something that I've been telling people for quite some time, man. The music industry has nothing to do with music. It's more of if you're popular. And that's exactly what shows like X Factor and all that do. Like, they prepare you to be popular because they give you a fan base of people that's watching you sing these instrumentals and all of this stuff that you're doing, but yet you're not really focusing in on creating new and unique music for you. You're just showcasing your whole skill set, and you end up being a raw individual going into the music industry. A lot like the NCAA, you feel me? Because the NCAA doesn't really prepare kids to be in the NBA like that, man. Because one, competition is nowhere near as hard as it is in the NBA. There's nowhere near the amount of games in the NCAA as there is in the NBA, man. Ultimately, these people are just getting thrown to the wolves, and that's why most people who get drafted in the NBA really don't pan out like that. But since they get the notoriety for balling out on the biggest college stage of the NCAA, people assume that they're going to go to the NBA and dominate or something like that, but yet they're going into a whole nother league. And it's really no coincidence that this album is dropping right now, because right now it's the first quarter of the music industry. Like, have you ever noticed there isn't much music really dropping? You did, like, when it was October, November, December, like, it would be multiple albums dropping all the time on Thursdays and all of that I would be doing reviews for. But now, not so much. And it's really because everybody ain't got money like that. They trying to get their money back because they splurged so hard during the holiday season, and that's why this is the first quarter. A lot of sales aren't really going to happen. So what record labels do is they experiment, man. This is when they bring out the new artists that's trying to go ahead and drop the first records and all of that, and hopefully with success here, they'll begin to start moving their albums later on in the year. It's a lot like the NBA season, you feel me? Because, you know, a lot of people be like, the NBA season really doesn't begin until after the All-Star break. And that's especially for the teams that know they're going to be there to compete for a title. Like, they're not all that serious in the very beginning of the season. It's more of experimenting. It's more trying to find out the right lineups. It's more trying to experiment with new plays and all of that, man. Getting people acclimated into the whole system. Like, it's all of that at that particular time. But once the playoffs is right around the corner, then everybody gets serious and they begin to play for real, and try to do a playoff push to get into the right position to win a title. But the vast majority of this project, man, is rather solid. I only just got time to talk about a handful, but one song in particular that I really didn't like was the lead single, that Havana, which I'm sure is the song that anybody who listened to the radio or anything like that actually picked up on and realized that this is her, because that song is the one that got Young Thug on it. Not really big on that song, but the more they played it, the more catchy it became, so I understand people would know about it. But a bunch of quality songs on there, like Real Friends, where she's ultimately talking about all of these people around her are disappointing as her actual friends. And this is like a life lesson that I was taught from my father and such, man. He told me a while ago, you are lucky to get up out of this life with just one friend in general, and she's overtly going through that lesson on this song right here, man. I also like that Something's Gotta Give, where she's talking about her dysfunctional relationship where she's with some guy that's taking too much and all she does is give. And that's a lot like, you know, cars that's about to be on a head-to-head collision, you feel me? Like, ultimately, you're not working with each other, you're working against each other, and eventually y'all are going to crash. That is not the way a relationship is supposed to work. Relationships are people that's supposed to be working together to push each other to be better, instead of somebody trying to take everything away from an individual to push themselves up, you feel me? The next song I want to talk about is that Into It, because this is something that I tell guys all the time, you feel me? Because she's overtly just talking about she's into whatever it is her man wants to do. Understand that as long as you know how to ask and you're not weak with it, man, and you're not like overtly abusive with it and stuff like that, man, then these women are going to be down for the things that you want. You just gotta be slick with it. And a lot of dudes just aren't able to do that. And the last song I want to talk about is that Never Be the Same. Even though she's doing exactly what most people do, especially in R&B, they compare the love that they have for an individual to actual drugs and such, and she's comparing it to heroin and things like that, saying once she hit that love, once she get that love, she'll never be the same, which everybody does this, but yet it doesn't take away from the fact that it's a solid song, man. Overall, a solid project, and I'm gonna give this joint, man, an 8 out of 10. Definitely one you should go ahead and peep out on Spotify, man. Enjoy it, and go ahead and buy it if you so desire. I hope you enjoyed the show. You can follow me at Twitter up there, and you can go to downloadpads.com. That's down there to read today's article.